Yeah, so we can go. So, thank you very much, guys, for taking a time to join this session. I believe all are doing well and we're peaceful and a fruitful, festive. So, we wanna continue where we left off. So, I will just review some things that we shared on our previous session concerning the retirement planning. um I've indicated to you that when it comes to retirement planning, it's not something that you do it once and you're done. It's a it's a long-term journey. In fact, retirement planning will be part of your life up until you retire, because there are adjustments that needs to be done. There are things that you need to attend to now and then. It's not like you put your money there, then the rest is done. It's an ongoing on journey. And as I've indicated previously, that the greatest mistake that many people do when it comes to retirement, it is to assume that having a certain scheme in their workplace, that it's responsible for their retirement. They're already in a journey of retirement. So you can have that scheme taking a portion of your income, but it doesn't mean you have already started to prepare for retirement. The retirement journey, it's a journey which is very broad. It requires you to have a plan, or what is so called a financial plan. And when I refer to a financial plan, I don't refer to a sales rapper. A sales rapper are those guys that you'll find maybe in your old mutual or any company, where they're going to guide you based on what you are looking for. Those ones are not financial planners. But according to the standard of their companies, they are referred to as financial planners, but they are not financial planners, they are sales reppers. They are trained to sell a certain product, and they can explain that product in terms of sales, but not in terms of operations, because every product, it has its own operations. So you need a person who understands these operations, and outside what the product can give you, you need a person who understands all the factors from tax and economics, I mean to say. So that's very, very much critical. And unfortunately, there are people who are in their maybe 40s now and 50s, and all along they were assuming that they are prepared for retirement, up until maybe they meet financial planners who took them in a process of how financial planning, I mean, retirement planning goes and works. So, and it's hard, especially for a person who's also depending on one stream of income. It's hard for them to make a turn, unless if a person is also having other extra streams of income to prepare for retirement. And remember, all retirements are subjected to Section 28. I will share more about the regulation on Section 28 of Pension Fund, how they regulate everything. I'll share not tonight, but I think I'll share maybe next week on how these things are regulated. As far as you have regulation on the tax-free investment, you also have regulations in pension funds. So you don't just wake up and boom and put everything there. It is regulated under certain laws. So it's very much critical for you to have a clear perspective of what is a retirement planning, not just having what's called a pay slip where you have your RA return there and say, no, I'm in the right track. There is a lot that needs to be checked. As in our previous session, remember, guys, I've requested that you go and check your EAC. So yeah, I don't know how it went, but yeah, I definitely desire to see your EAC, your effective annual cost, because it plays a key role in terms of deciding how much money you're going to get in retirement. I'm going to share on that in this session that we are in tonight. So it's not too late. You can have you can consult your planner, and then you go around the questionnaire of retirement planning, so that everything is adjusted accordingly. Because if you have not yet done any consultation with your planner and assume that you already started to prepare for retirement, you will be fooling yourself in terms of that. There will be that visitation where you guys have to go through a certain process to adjust everything in order for you to be in the right track. So on tonight's session, we are going to look at number one, understanding the effective annual cost, which is the EAC, and then I'm going to look at the top four RAs with less EAC, and then we're also going to look, but not tonight. We're also next week we're going to look at the advantages of having an RA and looking inside the tax implications on an RA. And then later we're going to look at factors affecting your RA, and then looking at financial needs analysis. So in terms of tax implication, it's very broad. So I will communicate with Mpo again and see if she's available. I want to bring her because she's the one who works the SARS with such things. So if he's available, I'm going to call her again. But remember, with Mpo, we have a lot of restrictions because there are a lot of things which are not allowed to do as far as they're working for SARS. So I'll just check on her if she will be able to come. So if you'll be able to come, I'm going to share the platform. I'll start sharing all the tax implication around your RA, and then she'll take it from there and broaden it as she's an expert in that, and she's serving a senior position in when it comes to tax issues. So let's check the issue of understanding the EAC. So the only thing that will determine how much money you're going to get will be the fees that you pay when it comes to your RA. So how much you're going to get when you retire, it will be determined by the fees which you are paying. So those fees, as we call them, annual effective cost. So they are separated into four categories. When you check, because I've requested you guys that you call those guys who are managing your pension and request for a full report of EAC. So when you check your EAC, if your EAC, the maximum of the standard, like many providers, their standard is usually 3%, which is high. I've reflected that the maximum of your RA should not surpass 1%. Your maximum should be 1%. Anything higher than 1%, it means your RA is growing negatively, not positively. So there is a breakdown of those effective annual costs. So they break them into four formats. So when you check your reports, your full reports, you'll find those percentages being broken down into pieces, and then at the end of the day they form one thing and they call it annual effective cost. So if they are higher than 3%, if they are higher than 1%, you're already in negative. And some of the people will say, no, these guys, they have robbed me. I'll also share on my screen the calculator that you can use. We have the 10 times investment calculator that you can use. I'll bring it here on the screen so that everyone will be able to see. So when you have something which is higher than 1%, it means it will be difficult for your investment to grow. Remember, when they deduct that amount from your monthly income, they have to invest it somewhere. So as far as they invest it somewhere, there are also factors contributing in terms of the growth. Before we even speak about the effective annual cost, I'm going to share those things that they contribute in terms of your returns. So if these guys, they put your money in a certain space and then they say it's going to grow by this percentage, and discover that where they invested their money is not doing well, it also affects you as an investor. So those guys, in fact, they are gambling with your money because they can't keep cash. They can't keep liquid cash. They have to invest it somewhere. So the benefits from that investment, it's determined by a lot of factors, including how the market is performing. So that's why when you go to platforms like your Easy Equities, you also have spaces where you can do even such things for yourself. But the issue with those Easy Equities I'm going to share tonight here is the EAC is high compared to the others here. So we also have those guys who are, so they are self-employed. The self-employed guys, they don't have any pension fund. Or we have also individuals who are working in spaces where their employers, they don't provide your provident fund, they don't provide an RA. It does not mean you have to wait for someone to say, let me help you. You have to do it when you're self, because if you're a self-employed person, for an example, if you're a self-employed person, there will be a time where whatever you're doing, you won't be able to do it. If it requires you to have the physical energy and you are working hard, you can't work like hard labor in your 60s as effective as you are in your 30s and in your 20s. So you need to have a plan to say, okay, let me open my own RA. And as I've said, you don't just put your head in something that you don't understand. Sit down with your planner and ask questions. Or if you decide, because I'm going to share 4 options, these are the less RAs in South Africa. The 4 that I'm going to share, 4 of them, which are very less in South Africa. The rest, they are very expensive. So even if you choose one of the 4 that I'm going to share here, you still have to ask questions. And one of the questions is, what will be my effective annual cost? And then the next question will be, can you please break down all the costs which I'm going to pay here, so that you understand that if I have this kind of cost in terms of fees, and then the interest rate which this investment is going to grow is this, and then I have 15 years, because you see, with retirement planning, guys, there is no guessing game here. Everything must be clear that I have a 10-year plan. My current balance is this amount. My investment is going to grow by this percentage. So everything, it must be real, because it needs to be clear of where you are. For an example, when we do lifestyle audit, we will ask you questions like, what will be your responsibilities by the time you retire? For instance, if we say you want to retire at 55, what will be your responsibilities on a table? Are you going to have kids that are going to require you to fund them to go to school? Are you going to have kids who will still depend on you? All those factors, they contribute in terms of the kind of money that you need in retirement. That's why most of the people are not ready for retirement, because they have never done even stuff like a lifestyle audit. When you do a lifestyle audit, you check those things and say, where are you planning to stay? And what I know about many people, they'll tell you, in retirement, I want to travel the whole world. No, you don't start by traveling the whole world. You start by planning on how you're going to travel the whole world, because it might happen that even your replacement ratio is less than 60%. As I've said to you, any replacement ratio that is less than 60% or 75% is a struggle itself. These are the individuals which are going to see them struggling in retirement. So the best replacement ratio is between 60% to 75%. And I told you guys that if I'm dealing with a portfolio of a teacher or a police officer, I can't put those guys in 75%. The reason being, I know that their contribution is very less annual, unless if they have extra additionals in terms of adding in what they're contributing annual. But if they're depending solely on what they're contributing from their monthly income, those guys, they can't reach 60%. It's impossible. Hence, even the data that was released now, it reflects that only 6% of South Africans goes to retirement with a proper retirement funds. The rest is just a struggle. And then some are forced even to add extra years into their maybe they were supposed to retire at 55, now they have to add 5 years to be 60, so that they will cover some of the things. Remember, according to retirement planning, we always assume that by the age 55 you have lesser responsibilities. But looking at the current state of our country, you discover that even in retirement self, you're still taking care of your children and you're still taking care of your grandchildren. So it's a struggle, because that money won't be enough for you to do a lot of things, as it will be split into percentage. So you need to count such factors. You need to count such factors. Like, my kids are doing this, maybe they're in grade so and so. By the time I retire, they're going to be in varsity. Am I going to have funds to fund them? And I've encouraged you guys that even though we're going to have a replacement ratio in terms of your, what is it called, of your annual income, still plan to have what is so-called a replacement income. A replacement income is an asset which is going to take over from the income which you are getting monthly. In other words, I have something which is going to bring income. As far as I'm receiving 50,000 every month, I have an asset which is going to bring 50,000 even when I'm in retirement without me going to work. So it's a plan, it's a journey. And I don't lie to you guys, it's a struggle when you find yourself maybe in your 50s and you still have debts. It's a struggle because at the other end, you want to pen to this side of now, okay, you want to put more in the retirement, but because of debts, you are unable to go through whatever you want to go through and say, okay, I can go through this and I add more and more. But you can't do that because you still have debt. So for me, I always advise people this: make sure that when you reach 40, you're done with every debt. The only debt that will be left for you, maybe it will be the debt of saying, I have assets which are still wanna pay, and those assets, they're germinating an income. But if now I still have a debt of a house, a debt of this, it's a struggle. It's a real struggle because in your 40s, that's where they say is in your 40s, that's where you are in the second stage of retirement planning, because the first stage start in your in around 21, and then in your 40s you are in the second stage. That second stage, it will end when you start your retirement. So you'll enter the third stage where you have to reap what you sow. So in your 40s, the transition is that the responsibilities that you had from your 21 up until 40, they have now reduced. So now you have lesser responsibility, which gives you an advantage to advance more in terms of how much you're going to add. If I was contributing 150,000 on my retirement planning, because of that momentum, now I'm able to add even another 100 to be 200,000. So as I said, in that age, you need to make sure that you have settled most of those things. So now coming back to your EAC, if you check your statement of your effective annual cost, you're going to see these four things. Number one, you're going to see what is so-called TER. So the TER stands for the total expense ratio. So the total expense ratio is a measure of total cost associated with managing a pension fund and expressed as a percentage of funds total assets. So it includes various fees such as management fees, administration cost, and other operation expenses. So your TRR it includes these things: your management fees, your administration fees. And when I read these things, like I said, and there are many ways to make money in this world. Like these guys, they should not even charge us the things. But what is it that are going to say? They have to charge you. So if a lower TER is preferable, as it indicates a larger portion of an investment is working for you as an investor rather than going to cover expenses. So if your TER is higher, it means the compounding of an investment is not working for you, but it works for those guys who are managing what your retirement. The compounding, I've explained to you how the compounding comes in your retirement. You put a portion of money, let's say you put 2,000 rand, and then the 2,000 rand, they said annual is going to give you is going to give you 100 rand. So that 100 rand which is going to give you, it comes back as 100 rand, but it needs to pass through those fees. If those fees are higher, you might discover that the 100 rand, when it goes back to be reinvested, it is no longer 100 rand. Now maybe you are left with 60 rand. The whole of the 40 rand, it was paid to those structures, those fees which you are paying down there. So the compounding will be, the power to compound will be low. So if the power of compounding is low, the ability of your money to grow is also low. So for your money to grow, the compounding should be higher. And for the compounding to be higher, the EAC must be low. So is the EAC against the compounding? So the higher the compounding and the lesser the EAC, it gives an advantage to an investor. But if the EAC is higher and the compounding is low, in your mind you are a millionaire, but in reality you are not. You are assuming to be one, but you are not, because your money is affected by those admin fees. And unfortunately, those guys, they make sure that when they create that system, they put it in a sense where it's very complex. And even when you read, and I know we black people, when we go to those things, we're just waiting for a place where they'll show you, sign here. Page 5 at the bottom, sign there. No, just sign. And then they'll send you some emails, maybe email of 20 pages. You look at it and they say, this is your statement. You'll be like, the statement. You just go where they return money. You read, they say your current balance is 200,000. Be like, oh, I have 200,000, I'm done. You don't read the whole thing because you just want to read money. But you have to understand the overall of those things in order for you to understand the state of your finances and what needs to be done. So the second thing that you will see there is the TC, the transaction cost. So this one is not, it's like these are the things that you can't control. The TR is in your control. You can control it by getting providers that are low. But the TC is not in your control, the transaction cost. So transaction cost refer to the expenses that incurred when buying or selling assets. And the funny part, the hardest part is not you who's doing that, the selling and the buying. It is those guys, the fund managers are the one who are doing this. And within a pension fund. So these can include brokerage fees, taxes, and other costs associated with executing trades. So transaction costs can impact the overall performance of a pension fund. So it's essential for fund managers to manage this cost effectively to maximize return for investors. So those fund managers that are hired there, it is their duty to make sure that all these transactions, they don't cost you a lot, because every cost that is going to happen in those transactions, whether buying or selling, it's going to be deducted from your own money. So if the TC is low, still again it gives you that advantage to say it's going to compound higher. But if it is higher, it affects you. It really affects you. So you'll also see in your easy equities when you check those bonds. I once taught about bonds. When you check those bonds and also the ETNs, when you check those ETNs they are managed by managers. So you have to go for managers which are very low in their cost. So the third thing that is included in your EAC is the administration fee. The administration fee refers to the management and operational functions necessary for running a pension fund. So this includes record keeping, processing contributions, withdrawal, managing member, communications. Those communications that are doing with you, whether they are sending some emails, they have to charge you for that. It falls under the administration fees. So ensuring compliance with regulation requirements. So there's a certain portion which are going to charge you on that. And then the last part of your EAC, it will be the platform fees, which other providers they don't charge the platform fees. We are going to see when I share those for top 4 RAs that have less EAC. So a platform fee is charged levied by an investment platform that allows a pension funds to access various investment products and services. So that platform which you are using to access whatever you like using, it's like using an easy equity platform. There are fees which they have to charge you for using their platform. So you'll also find these fees in terms of your pension fund. So you pay a certain fee for using the platform, which I don't know which platform you're using for investment, but you pay for that. Whether you go to their website, whether you go to those stuff, it does not matter. But the main thing is that it's going to be charged there in your EAC. So these 4 things, in total overall, they cover your EAC. They cover your effective annual cost. So all of them combined, the 4 of them combined, they should not pass 1%. All of them combined, they should be between 48 something, 98 something, whatever it might be, but the maximum should be 1%. The 4 of them combined. So if the 4 of them combined surpass this 1%, they start to go to 2%, they start to go to 3%. That's why you're going to have a problem, because it means you are going to have higher effective annual cost. So you need to make sure that you check all these things, that they don't come back and hit you. Because if you don't check them, they will come and hit you, and they are affecting your RA. So, I'm sure you are able to see on your screen. I just wanna use something practical. I wanna switch off the screen. I'm using 2 screens. I wanna switch off this screen and I'll come back to these notes and use the 10 times investment practically. I just wanna show you something Let me just flip this. Okay, just a minute. Okay, I just wanna flip and get something here. The RA, where is it? Okay. Okay, let me, while I'm still checking it, let me just see how am I going to access it. I just want to put it here on the screen so that everyone will see when we do those calculations. I just want to show those calculators that you can use to do this. I'm looking for a certain option that it has to appear on my screen so that I will flip the screens and present something else. Okay, just a second. Okay. Okay, let's hope it will allow me to go to the other screen so that I will be able to show you what I want to share with you. Okay, here we go. Okay, now on your screen, I'm sure you can see this is the 10 times investment website. So now I'm in their website. So what you do when you are here in their website, you go to where you'll see return funds, retirement planning. So what, and then you also have resources and support. So what you do, you come here to retirement planning. When you push the retirement planning button, it will now show you the tools that you can use. Free comparison report, text tips, all calculations. That's the advantage of using 10 times. They have a lot of things that you can use. They also have some books that you can download, the PDF books that you can download that they can guide you in terms of planning for retirement. Then you come here on retirement annuity calculator because we want to deal with that. So those of you who have failed to bring your EAC, you can come here to the EAC calculator and calculate for yourself and then request them to send you the report on your own email. Then you're going to get it in your own email. Even the tax calculation, you can do them here. The two-port system, the two-port calculator, you also have it here. You can do all these calculations here and see the effects which you if maybe decide to draw from a two-port, the effects which you are going to go through in terms of tax implications. So let's just go to retirement annuity calculator. Okay. Anyone who wanna volunteer, but if there is no person to volunteer, anyone who wanna volunteer here, and I use your details here, I will need your. But it's fine. Let me not use anyone's details here because it's confidential. I'll just use something which I have in mind here. Because when I calculate, okay, so let's just go there. Let's say your age, you are at age 35. Your monthly income is 22,000. Yeah, you are a teacher. Let's say you're a teacher. Your monthly contribution on your retirement is, let's put it there on, let's say 1,000. And then your balance in terms of retirement is 200,000. And our target replacement ratio is 60%. So when we speak, let me just explain the replacement ratio again so that answer. The 60% that you see down here, before I calculate it, let me explain it again. The replacement ratio, it is the total replacement of your annual income in percentage. So if you are earning 300,000 annually, when you are in retirement, before they decide how much money you are going to get, they are going to put a certain percentage based on your balance. How much do you have in a retirement? So a person with who's earning 300,000 and want to have a replacement ratio of 60% in retirement, that person means annually will start to get, instead of 300,000, that person will get 180,000. Which is going to be good for him or her, because that money, it will be on 60%. So if it's less than 60%, the person will start to struggle, because the cost of the cost of living is going high every day, and then you have the retirement which is less than 60%. So you are going to have real struggles. So your income in retirement is going to be judged in a certain percentage. That percentage it determines by how much are you contributing monthly and annually. So you can't get 60% out of nowhere. Your 60% is going to be measured by how much have you contributed. So if you want to enjoy retirement, your retirement should be between 60% and 75%. So now let's just use the 60%. Let's just use the 60% of a person who's at the age of 35. And then this thing to help us now when you prepare for retirement, you are at 35, you are earning 22,000 monthly, you have a contribution of 1,000 monthly, your current balance is 200,000, and you want a replacement ratio of 60%. Now let's beat the calculator, and the calculator does not lie. You see, once it gives me a yellow or red, you see there the yellow and the red, it means there is a shortfall of my contribution. It means I can't qualify for the 60%. Once you see the yellow or it gives me red, even before I read it, I know that there is a shortfall. So there is a shortfall of 3,392 per month. So if it means if I wanna reach the 60% which are projected there, I need to add more. I need to maximize my monthly contribution, which is going to affect my annual contribution. So it means I'm left behind. You see, that's where the problems start. It means I'm left behind. And in my mind, I can be like, I'm in track, bro, I'm in track. Like I'm in track, my finances are right. But now when you hit the calculator, you start to say, hey, I'm left behind. If I want 60%, I'm at this age, my monthly contribution is this, and then it's not going to work for me. I have to increase. I have to increase my monthly contribution. So go back to the same calculator, and then now we'll have to rearrange it again. So let's say again he's 35, he's earning 22,000. Monthly contribution now changes from 1,000 to 2,000. Current balance 200,000, and then 60 is still our replacement ratio, and then hit the calculator. You see, now we're not left behind. Now we are. Once you see blue, it means we're on right track. So meaning this person have to pull up the socks. Have to pull up the socks. So if the replacement ratio of your the replacement ratio that you desire 60%, your monthly income is 22,000, and you already have 200,000 on your contribution, and then you contribute 2,000 every month. Your replacement ratio of 60% is your target retirement income. It will be 17,792. The projected retirement income, it will be 21,900. Projected income excess is 4.108, which is great. So the projected income excess are going to speak about it. These are the tax benefits. I'm going to talk about it when I talk about taxes. Project income excess, I'm going to explain it when it comes to taxes. So you see that if I'm earning 22,000, I have a replacement ratio of 60%, at least we can roam around 17,000 to 17,792. So I still have that balance. In terms of my finances. And also because they say you are projected to receive 123% of your target retirement income. So there is that balance. Now let's just go and see what will happen to a person who's having a replacement ratio of, let's just use it, because they say most of the South African, they are in a replacement ratio of 25%. Let's just see the disaster here. 25%, 25 in age, 22,000. Monthly contribution, let's say contribute 700, and then current retirement is 200, and then the percentage replacement ratio 25%. Calculate. So this person, okay. You see what will happen here, and that's the problem. That and many people start to complain in retirement. Oh, those guys, they are robbing me, and no, they are not robbing you. If your replacement ratio is going to be 25%, and that's where it is, according to the stat, they said most of the South African, they are in 25% replacement ratio. Reason being is the contribution which they are making. So if you are going, if you are earning 22K now, and the replacement ratio is 25%, in retirement you're going to earn 7,430, and I mean 7,430. And the biggest issue in this, don't forget that the value of your money, what we call it buying power, is determined by different factors. Factor number one, which determines the value of your money, is the cost of living. Do you think after 15 years, when 17,413 will be enough, or it will make sense after 15 years? Because most of you here, you are left with more than 15 years to go to retirement. So do you think if you go to retirement with this replacement ratio of 7,413, do you think this money will be enough to sustain you? And secondly, do you think you're going to afford medical aid? Because most of you, when you go to retirement, your employer have to terminate their contributions in terms of medical aid. Now, the medical aid, it will be tossed to your own pen, and then you have to face the consequences and the responsibilities of dealing with that. So do you think it will be enough for you to cover? You can't cover. In fact, let me not just even do think. You can't cover medical aid with 7,413, because you might discover that you are covering, in a medical aid, you are covering more than 4 people, which will cost you around 4,000 to 5,000 every month. And you can't live for a medical aid. There's a need for food in the house. You still need to finance maybe your kids going to school and other things if they're still going to school. You have to buy petrol. And with 7,413, forget about buying a car. And if you are maintaining one, it's going to be a burden. This income is not for a person who's driving a car. It's a person who lives in Uber or a public transport, but not a person who's going to maintain a car. So that's the problem. And the issue is that most of us as Black people are stuck in 25%. And now we need to run that cycle and say, what is it that needs to be done to increase the 25% to go? And I'm not saying you're going to move from 25 and now you are in 60 by tomorrow or next month. No, it will be about how you adjust your responsibilities and see a contribution. And then for those of you who have started also to use a tax-free account, I clap hands for you, because that contribution which you're contributing to a tax-free account, we can also add it as a percentage that adds in terms of your monthly contribution. And I have to say this, when it comes to your tax-free account, be consistent and have that eye to say, I want to maximize my tax-free account every year. Because you have that balance that they give you every year that you need to put is 33,000 there that you need to put every year. You need to have that edge and say, I need to maximize my tax-free account while I continue to contribute in my RA. My tax-free account will also serve as my RA. So with the period of 15 years which you are left with, you can have the advantage to say, if I can maximize the 500,000 that is needed on my tax-free account and continue to contribute on my RA, I can have a balance. I can say, for my lifestyle, I'll just use my tax-free account. And then for the other things, I can use my RA. We need to be strategical, guys. That's why the writer said, you can't prepare for the battle in the battle. You need to sharpen your staves. I mean, he said you need to sharpen your weapons before you go to the battle. And the other factor here that is so testing is the issue of age, guys. You discover that your age now, you're in your 30s, some are in your 40s, the time. And let's imagine if you're working and you don't know your balance now, you don't even know where you're standing. Because if you don't know your current balance, you don't know where you're standing. So if you know your current balance, you just go there where I'm in now. Use your calculator and start. If you have not started, use the calculator, play around the calculator of saying, my aim is that at 55, I want to retire. Whether I'm self-employed or I'm working, I want to retire. And play around the calculator and see how much do you need to contribute every month to reach that target which you're talking about. Remember, this is something that it has to be weighed again in the issues of tax also. So as I've said, the 7,413, it won't be enough to sustain you. Checking that the value of this money will be calculated based on the cost of living, the level of tax, and also the issue of inflation. Those things, they will even affect this 7,000 that I'm talking about here. So if you are in a 25% replacement ratio, I'm urging you, go down there. There's no such thing as you're too late. You do something, as long as you're still breathing, do something and work it out, because this one will definitely affect you. With the replacement ratio of 25%, you are going to struggle. So you can use this calculator. So you can come. Let me just go back to retirement plan. So a lot of things that you can check here to assess your finances. So you can also come here. Those of you who said you didn't check your EAC, you can come and check the EAC, which these 10 times, that's where now I don't understand them, because they say they are very cheap. The 10 times, the website which I'm using, these guys, they also have the product of RA. They say they are cheap, but now when it comes to their EAC, that's why you discover that there are a lot of things that there are hidden costs that you didn't see there, and they end up being expensive while they proclaim to be cheap. So now I doubt them. For me, they're not my first options. As from the top four, they're not my first option because of this cost that they didn't share on their website, but they say they are the cheapest. So I can't go to them. So guys, you in your time, I can't say in your free time, create time. There is no such thing called free time here on earth. We're all committed, but it's all about what do you prioritize. If it means something to you to go to retirement with healthy funds, you will make time to sit down and do the calculations, and you'll make time to go to your planner. A person will assist you to plan for this retirement. I was checking on someone because the guys who are working in government, the government employees who are also under these municipalities, they have access to something called the EMAS. So those EMAS guys, let's say you want to build a house or buy a house, you can go to those guys and they give you a loan. So in that loan, those guys, they are going to take, the loan is not going to be deducted on your monthly income. Your monthly income will remain as it is. So they are going to take that money, that loan, they are going to deduct it from your pension contribution. And I've seen here in Tulamahash, I've seen a lot of people working there in Tulamahash. They have used their IMAs to build houses, to pay off the cars. But the issue is these guys, in their minds, they think they are well covered, because as far as they take that IMAS loan, the money, as long as it's not deducted from their monthly income, they think they are safe. But as far as they take it from their pension contribution, it's affecting them in a way that when they go to retirement, the money they're going to have there is going to be less. And then they don't, I can't say they don't think around this. They don't know how the numbers play, because numbers are complex if you don't know the system, how it's been built. So my fear is that when they go to retirement, some of them, they will faint, because these IMAS guys, they take from something which was supposed to go in and bring growth. So they have to, and every month they'll send you those emails of their statements. How much are you left with? How much they have taken? And when, as long as you get, if you are earning 40,000, as long as you get your 40,000 every month, when I think I'm sorted, I'm fine. But the issue is that when you go to retirement, these things are going to affect you, and that's it. And some of you, I know your parents who are working, and as far as they are working, I doubt most of them, they understand the system. So as far as you are here in this platform, go down and sit down with your father or your mother and start to explain to them about the retirement, and check these things that I've said. You need to check them and do the alignment with your parents, because I may not be able to access them, but when you have the access to your own parents, and talk money. When it's not a taboo to talk about money, talk money and assist them as it's still ill, so that there will be adjustment that are done in terms of their finances. So, okay, going back to the drawing board, let us check the top four. I'm going to be fast now, because I don't want to put you guys here for a very long time. In psychology, they'll teach you that people, they have a certain capacity to grasp something. After a certain time, they're no longer hearing what you're saying. So we have number now in okay number one in my list. We have the 10 times investment, which we're using their calculator. 10 times was founded in 2007, and they live strongly by their motto. Their motto is that keeping things simple by being transparent about costs, which I doubt they follow this. They say they're transparent, but there are some costs which you'll never see on them. So they have an asset of 15 billion rands. So they have a very simple strategy for their retirement, because they invest 15% of your gross salary for 40 years in a high growth index fund. I'm going to show you the index fund, which there are 4 options, which, okay, guys, now, when a retirement scheme fund take your money, most of them, they have options where to invest your money. And they will ask you, which one are you? Or maybe sometimes they put a questionnaire and they say, according to the questionnaire, fall to this part. But the issues that you don't know, those things, be like, okay, that one is fine. Take that one. And that's where my problem is. You guys, you don't ask questions. If you have these 4 options, can you please explain for me option 1, 2, 3, and explain me not in terminologies, explain me in a language where I can hear you and understand what you're saying. So these guys, they have 4 options. I'm going to just let's just hope when I flip the screen, it's going to give me the screen. So they are EAC. Remember, we are looking for EAC here. They are EAC. For your first 1 million, your EAC, it will be 0.4%. 10.4%. And then for the next 4 million, your EAC, it will be 0.81%. And to your next 5 million, your EAC is going to be 0.58%, and your next 10 million is going to be 0.40%. So meaning when your investment grows, it also lowers your EAC. So in the beginning, the EAC is going to be 0.4%, which for me is high. Based on what they are saying is, yeah, it's high. It's high. 1.2 in that journey. When you start pushing up until you reach 1 million, it will remain 1.0.4%. So let me just check if it will allow me to show you those 4 options which they are giving you when you want to invest. Then you have to pick one from them. Stop presenting. Okay, you have to pick one from them. Let me just, where is it? Okay, not this one. Okay, entire. Okay, I'm still trying to win, guys. Let's hope it's going to allow me to share this. Technology is too much. Okay, here it is. Let me maximize it here on the screen. Okay. You need to read this if you're going to sign their stuff. You need to read this. The document which I've opened now, you need to read it because it explains most of the things that you need to understand, and it's subjected under the regulation 37. So in terms of transferring your maybe you have another, you have already have a retirement scheme. If you want to transfer, you're going to use section 14 of the Constitution. So it speaks about your rights to transfer. This other day I was talking with these guys of insurance, and I was telling them that I want to settle that insurance and move to another another what's it called, provide. And they were saying to me, no, we have to charge you. I said, that's nonsense, guys. You're not speaking with a dumb cop here. I know the Constitution, that the Constitution does allow me, if I want to settle anything before its time, it does allow me, whether a car, whether a bond, I can settle it without being penalized according to section. I started to quote the section for them. And that's where they started to keep quiet. Because these guys, as long as you don't understand that they are also regulated, and most of the people, they suffer those things and said, no, they said because I did it, they have to penalize. You have to read the sections. You see, when I open this document, it's subjected under, I think it's section 34. You need now to go down and read section 34. What does it say? So that you know your rights. Because most of you don't know your rights, and these guys, they take advantage of you and say, no, because you didn't do this, we're going to penalize you for this. So you need also to know your rights. in everything, beside the investment thing, you need to know your rights. So without knowing your rights, that's where they're going to abuse you. So these are the 4 options which they're going to give you, that you see on your screen with it's like sort of a graph. They have 10 times higher equity, which is 6.5%, is higher than the inflation. And then, sorry, you also have the 10 times medium equity, 5.0%, 10 times low equity, 3.0%, and 10 times defensive, lower risk, which is 1.5%. So it depends which one they're going to put you, but their champion is this one, 10 times higher equity. So if they put you here, it means you are in a state where you're going to experience real growth in terms of your RA. So hence I say to you, need to understand when they take, you have to ask them, what are my options when I invest in you? What are my options in terms of the available sources which my money is going to be invested in? And I'm going to tell you, you have this, and then this document, as far as I've just downloaded it from their website. So you have to look through it, how your money will be going, and check all the performances and everything. Then you will see which one, unless if they subject you based on their because some they assess you and say you don't qualify for the, maybe for the high equity, you qualify for the medium equity according to the survey which they will survey you. But if you are not projected to those surveys, you have to push for something which is going to bring you greater returns. So if you go for this one of 10 times, you will have these 4 options which they have in terms of their investments. So you will they'll pick one, or you'll pick one for yourself and go for it. So in terms of their fees, as I've said, is 1.04% from the first to 1 million, and then 0.81% for the next 4 million, and the next 5 million 0.58%, the next 10 million is 0.40%. Remember, I said these are the EAC, what you have started with. These are the factors that are going to determine the growth of your money. And then the second one, okay, let me just push. The second one is Signia. So the arrangement you do, which I did here when I said the first one, the second one, I'm not saying it's number one. I'm going to tell you according to my judgment who's number one, who's number last. So Signia, it was founded in 2006 and established themselves as one of the cheapest and most competitive passive index investment platforms in the market. So the reason why these guys they are cheap is because they don't employ analysts and portfolio managers to decide when to buy or sell their shares. So that's why they're cheap. Even when you go to their website, you'll discover that their staffs are very cheap. So when you use Signia, even your EasyQuity, you're going to see this. When you use Signia, you're going to get unit trust, different unit trusts which you can invest in, different ETFs which you can choose on, and different ETNs which you're going to use to choose on. Remember, I say ETNs, they are managed by fund managers. ETFs, you pick which one you pick, and then unit trust, they're also managed by fund managers. So Signia is going to give you these 3 options. You have the unit trust, you have the ETFs, and the ETNs. So they are champion in terms of their highest in terms of the investment in Signia. They have something called the Signia Skeleton Balance 70 Fund. So this fund was founded in 2013, passively managed and valued with the asset of 2.5 billion. So it does not reach its max. So the fund on average deliver 9.59% return. So your growth annually it will be 9.59% if you're in Signia Skeleton Balance Fund. And then in the past 3 years, there has been effective annual cost of 0.46%. That included regardless of the amount investment. So this is a ridiculous cheap comparison with the industry minimum contributions of initial, the lump sum. You need to have a lump sum of 20,000 if you are transferring from another so-called a scheme. You need to have 20,000 and a lump sum of 5,000 and a debit order of 500 per month. So these guys, they are very cheap. 0.46%. The 10 times they offer you 1 point something percent. These ones, regardless of their money investment, is 0.46%, which makes them to be cheaper. And let me just check the what's it called, the Signia Skeleton Fund, how it has performed in the previous Okay, I want to bring it here on the screen. It's work here, guys, to change the screens and bring this one off and bring this one in. I love technology. So, okay, let's put it here and then bring this one here. And then let's share it. Okay, so here it is, the Sigma Skeleton 70 fund. So you check here, 0 to 2 years, 2 years to 3 years, 5 years, check the performance, how it has been performing. I also want to show you what is inside that Sigma Skeleton 70. That's what I want you to see. Okay. So there are 70 of them, but here we're just going to pick how, okay. This is the performance of, okay, it was around 2013. So here they have Naspers. Naspers is one of those who are buying shares in his equities. You know, Naspers is one of the highest performance. So in the top 70, you'll get the Naspers, their first round, which FNB, Goldfields, Anglo America, Standard Bank, Capitec, Process Empty, all these are going to get them. So the overall performance of them from 2019 to 2024, here it is. 2019, it was 12.4%, 2020, 10.0%, 2021, 19.4%, 2022, 1.3%, 2023, 14.4%, 2024, and then now it brings you now to the total of, okay, now you check all these initial fee referred to. So you check all these percentages in terms of this thing, how it was performed. And then when you look at their fees as it is 0.46% and checking their performance, it gives you an advantage as an investor to say, my money is growing there because it's 0.46% with good performance. So you can also go to their website and check how they've been performing. These graphs, they will help you to decide, are you going to go for them or you're not going to go for them? You check for other schemes. I get it. We grew up knowing Old Mutual. The only thing that comes in our mind is Old Mutual, but you have a lot of options beside Old Mutual and those famous things that we grew up knowing. So let's check the third. So we'll go to the last one and we go to bed. The third one is Easy Equities. Easy Equities, all of us know it. It was established in 2014. And then when it comes to administration fee on right products, they charge you 0.845%, as well as investment costs that can range between anywhere 0.9% and 1.725%. So depending on the RA, because equities have a lot of options, RA fund you choose, so you can expect an EAC of between 1.035% to 20.7%, which is high. Very too high. If it's 1.035 and 2.07% is too high. But the advantage is that they give you a lot of options. When it comes to easy equities, you have a lot of options, and it can be confusing as a start. I know there are some starters who have bought some stuff that they don't understand easy equities because they just look, hey, this one is good, they just buy. So, but it's their EAC is very high. So from 1.085 to 2.07% is too high. The last one is Outvest. This one was established now, is Outvest. So Outvest, it was founded in 2017. Today I gave them a call. I wanted to understand some things there. So I gave them a call. I've discovered that when I called the Outvest, they have to transfer me to Alex Forbes. So it means their underwriter is Alex Forbes, because I called Outvest and then Outvest have to take my call to Alex Forbes, and I have to talk with the management of Outvest. So these guys have simplified everything. Instead of breaking those costs into 4 formats, 5 formats, they just took all of them and put them in one space, which it makes them to be also one of the guys that are very, very less. So with your first 3.5 million, they're going to charge you 1.5% per year, and then when you go up and charge you 4,500, and then when you go to a 2.25 million, they go to 0.2% per year, which makes them also be one of the lowest in terms of RA providers. So my top four is going to be stand like this. I'm going to start with the number one from these four that I've shared. Number one from these four that I've shared in terms of EAC is Signia. Signia, they are the lowest, they are number one. If you want to go for something which is less on EAC, Signia, they are number one. Number two is Outvest, because as the investment grows, also the EAC goes down. And then number three, it will be 10 times investment. And then number four, it will be Easy Equities, because they are higher in terms of their cost. So we have Signia on number one, we have Outvest on number two, we have 10 times investment on number three, we have Easy Equities on number four. So you can choose which one you can go for if you want to go for this. But these guys, as I explained to you, they are effective annual costs, they are also low compared to others. So I've compared these four because I know the four of them, they are very less. So others, they just go 2% is too much. So you can pick from these four and then have something which your financial planner and plan around and work it out. Remember, guys, life is not about luck. Life needs you to be intentional, and dealing with your finances is a journey. Don't be hard on yourself. Take your time to study your finances, rectify the errors that you need to rectify, to work them in patience. You should not stone yourself, because some of the things you didn't know them growing up and you start to discover them. So when you discover them, don't blame yourself. Start to rectify those errors and work them out. So yeah, I don't know if there's any question. I can just, you can open your mics and ask a question, and then if you don't have a question, we'll go to sleep and have sweet dreams. Any questions? Even if you want to
Good
ask.
evening,
Oh yeah, Mark Menja.
Phukile Mja. Well, my network is kind of bad today, so I'm not sure if I'll be breaking on your side. Mina, what I wanted to ask, it's not wholly on the topic, yeah, what we were doing now, but I just wanted to ask, are there any recommendations of places where you can put maybe for, people that usually invest? Because my father is investing with Standard Bank, and I see that there's not much growth. Is there any recommendation of where we can move it to where there will be a higher growth, or maybe where it's, yeah, to make a reasonable growth than using Standard Bank?
Okay, because you are talking about someone who's a father, I'm sure it's old, so you cannot
Yeah.
go around this like us. So you, I'll advise you to go to African Bank and get a fixed deposit. It's higher because it's the highest of them all.
Okay.
Standard Bank is very less, and get a fixed deposit, and then it must not be on, what is it called? This way is running on my mind. We have two types of interest rates. I'm sure you know them.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they are running away from my mind. I'm still in Resurrection Sunday, man. So, but I'll drop it on your WhatsApp. Which one you have to pick in terms of your fixed? Because if you pick that one, it works in compounding. The other one does not compound. Let's say they say your growth rate will be 8% or 9%. It means it will be that percentage for the rest of the investment. But the other one, when they say it's 8%, what you make as a profit, when it goes to the next year, it compounds together with the principal money. So it helps your investment to grow higher than when it is on the other interest rate. It's okay, it's nominal interest rate. The other one is called what? Forgot about it, but you don't go for the other one. I'll just share it on your WhatsApp, because I'm still crucified. My
Okay.
mind is still crucified.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Uh, okay. Another one with a question. Okay, it's fine. Even those of you who want to ask me privately, don't worry, you can ask me privately. So that I'll baptize you in the pool of Bethesda and baptize your finances. Skawara. It's a journey. We're all learning. I'll help you. So other than that, guys, let's meet next week. I want to talk about the tax implications of RA and also the advantages of RA. So have a blessed evening. And don't forget to call your partner to talk about this. Must stop, say good night, sleep well, talk about money. Have a blessed evening, guys. Bye-bye.